Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to break down what Joe Biden as a president means for real estate through the next 4 years. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. So I appreciate you being patient. I've been out for about 2 weeks doing quite a few things in Arizona. Again, I'm developing a 15-acre luxury resort there, as well as building out 5, potentially 7 homes at the price point of around 300 to 350. So we have 75 acres that we're developing over the next 18 months. Pretty big project, and it's been a lot of work, a lot of politics, everything else. So I've been heads down on that. So I did miss the last week or so on these podcasts, but I do want to bring you some more content here. And given the recent election results of Joe Biden, I think we have to talk about what is likely to happen with real estate and what we think is going to happen with him and his policies that might either make it harder for you to make money or easier. So there's a number of things that are going to happen. And the first one that I think is going to be pretty obvious is that Joe has not been silent on talking about how there's an issue with inventory, there's an issue with supply, affordability, and ultimately, I think you can expect that the Democrats, whether it be a Republican Senate or Democratic Senate, they're going to be pushing stimulus towards housing development. And one of the big ones that it's been put out there is a one-time $15,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers. Now, when I first bought my property, my first property back in like 2003 or something, there was an $8,000 tax credit back then that I used to get started in my real estate journey. And so this one's double that, and I expect that to pass fairly simply. Okay, so that's going to put more pressure on first-time home buyers, probably in that $150,000 to $300,000 price point. So again, I continue to see tailwinds for that segment of real estate. Another one that got me worried as a real estate investor is the 1031 exchange, process. And what that means is, if you have a property that you sell and you have gains, so long as you buy a property that is equal to or greater than that property, you can essentially roll over those gains into the property and not pay taxes. So there was a threat by Joe Biden that he would remove that. And after going through some of his updates in his policies, it does not seem like that's on the table right now. But again, someone's got to pay for the tax credits that he's giving with first-time home buyers. There's going to be other breaks and other funding towards affordable housing that has to be paid for. And my guess is there is a chance that the 1031 is at risk, but it's really hard to tell right now how much risk that is. So I wouldn't bet too much on that. It might be par for the course, but let's see what happens on that. Another one that's pretty obvious is I think you can expect the Biden camp to extend the protection in evictions and likely forbearance as well across the board. Now, again, on the one side, I think that's good for renters. Obviously, that should reduce the amount of homelessness and potential upheaval from a massive onslaught of people on the streets. And that's probably going to be the case until this vaccine or COVID really starts to wane. So I wouldn't be surprised if this goes on to Q2, Q3 of 2021. So that means I would expect potential for a forbearance and a eviction protection all the way through September, if not longer, until this COVID thing is really on its feet. Now, what that means is if you're a landlord and you're living in one of the states that are really, going to have impact from this, you might have some headwinds, and that is, I think, where you will see some foreclosures. You will see the mom and pop investors not getting their rents, yet they can't get forbearance, so they still have to pay, and then they're going to be in a bind. So I think there will be some buying opportunities for those people that are evaluating the markets where the eviction protection really is strict, and there might be opportunities to buy there. So again, I expect that to really start taking place in Q1, Q2 of next year. And think about it, it's already been 2-3 quarters of protection of evictions. People are going to start feeling the pinch here if they haven't already. So do keep an eye out for potential opportunities there. From what I've read, I expect the Section 8 stipends to be more favorable for renters, meaning I think Joe Biden and team will begin to fund more of the Section 8 rent. So if you do own properties that would qualify for Section 8, think about making them into Section 8 to ensure that you get funds from the government when your tenants do not pay. This will be a nice way to buffer the blow during these months while other properties might not qualify. Okay, so again, this is really going to be about damage control until we get some sort of stability with COVID. And again, there's probably a light at the end of the tunnel, but for right now, you got to think about how to protect your cash flow. Section 8 seems to be one area that's possible. I expect Joe Biden to increase the funds there for Section 8. Okay. Another thing I'd expect, and this is kind of real estate related, but more in terms of increasing value in homes and potentially thinking about upgrading your energy or your utilities in your homes. There's probably going to be a push toward green energy, and with that, potential upgrades and capital investments in your properties. So think about solar, think about natural gas or instant hot water heaters, geothermal, things that will increase the value of your home, make it more energy efficient, and could probably be funded by some sort of tax credit that will likely come once Biden is in office. So think about how that might be a tax strategy within your overall investment strategy. Okay, I think it's no surprise that Joe Biden is going to put a lot of stimulus for developers to build affordable housing. That's going to be on the forefront of his housing policy. So do expect more development towards the D and C class. I think the opportunity zone generally has been successful to a large degree, or at least more than it has in the past. So I would actually expect Joe Biden to double down on Trump's opportunity zone policy and continue to fund that and continue to incent developers to build in the more neglected areas of cities and urban areas. So if you're thinking about investing, think about finding areas of path of progress where it's a little rough, but it's designated opportunity zones. I think you're going to see a lot of investment there. But do consider looking into that. Again, the last thing I'll say, somewhat related to real estate, somewhat not. You can expect the infrastructure to be again on the forefront of Joe Biden, along with the green energy. So you can think or review where the plans are to build infrastructure, and again, try to get ahead of the path of progress and consider buying in areas that will see development over the next 5 to 10 years. So those are just some of the key things that I see. I think there's going to be a lot more. I think the headwinds that were initially threatened by Biden will not be as robust as he initially said. I think generally it's going to be a lot of the same with some more funding towards lower end housing and lower end income levels, meaning C and D class. So keep an eye out for that. I think generally the housing market is in strong condition. Rates remain low and are actually decreasing. Supply remains low, which means appreciation is going up. I just saw a fact today that rent increases in suburban areas are rapidly increasing. So again, all really strong metrics and numbers for the real estate market. I continue to be bullish on the market. I still see 7 to 10% appreciation through 2021 for price points of $150,000 to $300,000, single families. So pay close attention to that. Now, lastly, continue to keep your eye on the game and your ears to the ground. I expect to see some opportunities with mom and pop investors who have not protected their assets, who are not getting cash flow and are falling behind on their mortgages. So with that said, be sure to subscribe. We're going to have more of these updates in the near future to keep you up to date on what we see happening in the policy of Joe Biden. And any questions, hit me down below in the comment section. We'd love to get your thoughts on what you think might be some happenings in the Joe Biden cabinet and how that might impact real estate. Talk soon.